Welcome everyone that's joining today on Friday. So I don't know, we're going to ask in a moment where you are all located in the world. So especially if it's a Friday evening for you, we're very grateful that you would give us this time today. We have had some people join coming up. I don't know if you can see as test. I think a link confusion has happened. If you would like to rejoin using the meeting ID and passcode, it will then come up with your name, because that's very important for the winner draw at the end. So we can pop you in the name generator so you have a chance to win the prize of £150 off of your PGCE course, which is a nice little extra. So I don't know if anyone that's joined again as test, if you'd like to rejoin using the meeting ID and passcode so that your name comes up, that would be brilliant. But if not, we just ask if you can pop your name in the chat box so that we can make sure you're entered. You don't want to miss out on that now that you're here with us. So I think we've got a handful. So we want today to be as informative but as engaging and interactive as possible as well. Brilliant, Anna, thank you very much. So let me kick it off. I know where some of you, for example, Barry O'Neill is joining from. Let's start off by typing in the chat box where you're currently based. Where are you zooming in from? Where are you in the world? Let us know, because I think we're going to have a few different answers. So we've got Anna in Shanghai. Oh, Chengdu. Oh, wow. Oh, nice. So got South Korea. Suzhou, lovely. Oh, Qingdao. Great. So most of you, oh, Malaysia as well. We've got Rose based in Malaysia in KL. Moving to Nanjing. Oh, so very grateful. Majority are in China or Asia, so you are giving up your Friday evenings. So thank you very much. I'm based in France. Some of the team are based in South Africa. Rose is based in Malaysia as well. So I think now I'm just going to double check with Rose if we can kick off, or is there anyone else majorly waiting in the waiting room?
Right now we've got 26 participants, no one else in the waiting room. So if we're good to go.
Yeah, let's go. Let's not keep everyone needs to have dinner after this. We'll try and keep it to an hour. Okay, so we hopefully a few of you know us at Totally Teach. We've got majority of our team on this call as well. So feel free to reach out afterwards with your recruiter if you're already connected to us. But here at Totally Teach, we've been going 7 years now, started off in China, and we've recently started to work with schools overseas. And in both China and overseas, a very important part of your teaching journey is to acquire your PGCE. It's definitely become now a requirement in China rather than a preference. And in other countries in the world, it is a necessity for a working visa. So we have partnered with the University of Cumbria and had a great experience with Ruth so far. And with everything else that we do at Totally Teach in terms of partnerships or promotions, they are tried and tested by us. So our very own Rose and previous colleagues have also completed their PGCE through Cumbria and had a fantastic experience. So we ask, like I said, we want this to be informative. We do get questions asked when we promote this, but we have the expert here with us, Ruth, giving up her time today. So please do not be shy. Please type your messages in the chat box. We do have Rose going through them. We will get them answered by the end of the session. If you do have anything major, Ruth will have a quick pause about halfway through. But generally, the presentation, as Ruth will say, will answer most of your questions. But please do put them in the chat box and feel free to take notes. But you will be sent a summary of this entire webinar afterwards, so you can fully engage, relax, have whatever you're having to drink at the moment, and take notes from there. So the agenda that Ruth will go through will cover everything. Why do you need a PGCE? What do you need to be able to study with the University of Cumbria? The plan that takes place when you are studying, the modules that they contain, the application process, which is essential, and obviously the fees, which is what most people want to know. And we will have a Q&A session afterwards, as I just said, and you need to stay until the end to find out if you've won that £150 off of your PGCE course that will be given to you from Totally Teach. So, Ruth, are you ready to kick us off?
Yes.
I will pass the mic over.
Okay, so I'm Ruth Hurst. I'm a senior lecturer in education at the University of Cumbria, which is in the UK. I'm the programme leader for the PGCE non-QTS. I can see some chats coming in asking questions about it. So I will explain what that title means shortly. The University of Cumbria has been working in teacher education for many years. I've had the opportunity of working in a variety of school settings. I'm qualified in secondary, but I've also spent time in primary, along with, clearly, in higher education. I also did sixth form. So I've got that basis and the understanding. My background, it's always nice to hear the background of the people you're going to be working with. So my degree was in computing and sports science. So I did a dual honours. And then I decided to go, I taught both, and I got my PGCE in computing, hence why I manage an online course. So next slide, Rosie, please. So what is this qualification and why is it important to you? So I think this will answer some of the questions in the chat. So the title is Postgraduate Certificate in Education, PGCE non-QTS. So as Rowena mentioned, I believe that they are the experts, all of the people working with you here, about the recruitment overseas. A PGCE is the standard, it's the gold standard in a sense, and master's level. So when you did your undergraduate degree, level 6 is usually your final year of your undergraduate degree. Level 7 is master's level. So it jumps up slightly in the writing, which I'll explain later. So as a university, when we validated this very successful programme, we opted to do the PGCE, which is the academic qualification. We are not awarding QTS. So QTS is qualified teacher status. In the UK, qualified teacher status is needed in many schools. It's an assessed placement. It might be full-time at a university. But for some schools and for those overseas, they don't necessarily need that. They need to show that they've got the understanding at that master's level of the PGCE. Okay, so the qualified teacher status is not awarded in this. You do not need to be observed. There is no need for a mentor. Okay, it's 60 master's level credits. There are 2 assignments, which I'll tell you about shortly. We have something called accredited prior learning. Many of you, and it always surprises me each year, to be honest, how many people come into the programme who already hold a master's or even PhD, but a master's in a different subject. So they may have a master's in geology, mathematics. So this course is very much in education. So the 60 master's level credits can be accredited prior learning transferred into a full master's afterwards, and you take the 60 off the 180, so you miss a couple of assignments out, and the MA is fully online as well. So a qualification like this is highly regarded internationally, due to that master's level element as well. You may come across PGCI. So we decided not to do the PGCE. The I is international. We didn't want to make people just international PGC. We wanted to make sure that they were transferable. They could move around the world. It is up to you, and you can discuss with your agents linked to visa requirements. But we have a massive cohort in China, Vietnam, Thailand, Malaysia, all of the places that you've outlined. So this qualification is recognised there. I do always say in these meetings, the one place that are a little bit funny with an online course is Australia. So I always say that just in case that is an aspiration of yours to go to Australia, you do need to check the visa requirements. Next slide, Rosie. So what are the requirements to join me on my programme? So you do need to have an undergraduate degree. If you did not get the best grade, but you have experience and you've moved forward and you've got experience in school, etc., that's absolutely fine. So we do not have a requirement that you have above a 2-2, etc. Our admissions will check where your undergraduate course is from, and they will do a little compare link to whether we do take that degree programme. So that is part of the admissions team. You do need to have your IELTS in the past 2 years with a score of at least 5.5 in each component. We do offer a password English language test that you can apply for, and that's £100. So one of the requirements is that you have to be in an educational setting for the duration of the course. So I'm assuming as you've joined up to this webinar, you are either looking at or you've already secured a teaching job. You have to be in a teaching job to complete this programme, and you'll understand that shortly, the reasons why. So it is not a QTS route. You do not need to be observed, and you do not need a mentor. Okay. So I'll just answer one or two of the questions that have come up. If you've already got a master's degree in education, absolutely fine. Most of the places and the schools will be excited at the fact that you've got that, but it is that PGCE that people want, and it shows that you've got that understanding as well of education. So we have to see, do you need an IELTS even if you come from Australia? If language is your first, if English is your first language, no. If you studied in an English university, then no. So it's completed on application. If you've got an engineering degree, that's absolutely fine. That's great. And you're trying to get a certification to teach. It's just moved up my screen slightly. One moment. This qualification is not subject specific. Okay. It will not qualify you to teach a specific subject. That would be from your degree. So if you have your degree in physics, geography, etc., that would be what your school, your employer is looking for. This course is showing that you've got the underpinning knowledge of education in general. Okay, next slide. I've just switched the chat off for a moment, so I will come back to them later on. So I'm just going to give you a little bit of an overview. As you know, it's a fully online course. We have all the materials ready for you. So we put you in groups. You're in a group size of about 30. You can select which group you want to be in according to your time zone, and also which evening suits you. So we hold the sessions of an evening for you. So UK time, we'd normally be looking around this time, or maybe a little. We normally do a bit later to give you time to travel home. So it would be about 11, 12 o'clock UK time. So I think you're about 8 hours ahead. And we hold them on a Wednesday or a Thursday. So you can select which of those days are suitable for you. You're working, you're teaching, and your just general life if you do other things as well. So a plan for the year, we have 3 intakes. The one in September is shown here. Ignore the dates, it's just an example. So we do September, January, and we also have an April intake. This calendar shows that if you join us in September, it's usually middle of September, you have an induction, so you can introduce yourself, you work with your peers, you meet your tutor, you experience the online environment. We use something called Blackboard as our virtual learning environment. Many of you may have used this on undergraduate courses, or you may have experienced it elsewhere. And I find now that whenever we do one of these presentations and inductions, it's very different for people, because most of you will have experienced online learning due to the pandemic. You may have been involved as a learner, or you may have been an educator. So you will be online, you will have to read the materials, and the weekly plans I will show you shortly, but I'm just going to explain this calendar. The blued out bits are when there is when holidays occur in the UK. As a university tutor team, we don't get the holidays, but we give these as reading weeks, because this programme attracts people from all over the world. We will have people from Scotland. Just go back, sorry, Rosie. And we have people in Scotland. We have people in Ethiopia, Russia, all over the place, Africa. So as you can imagine, they're in different time zones and work on things at their own speed, really. It's a very independent course. We set the materials and you work through them. So the blue are when we try and give you reading weeks. Now the green, if you've never come across formative assessment before, just make a little note. Formative assessment gives you the opportunity to submit a piece of work where you will gain lots of detailed feedback. Now, the person who mentioned about science, obviously my degree was very science-based as well. Coming into educational writing is quite different. And it's the first person. I can use that word in my writing. I'm looking at reflections. I'm thinking about what I've done as the teacher, what my learners are doing. So I found it quite tricky, to be honest, coming from that science background when it had to be data, facts, figures. And then I came into writing in first person. So we appreciate that everybody has come from a different background. And this formative, we found in reviews, really helps people, because it might be their first piece of writing for a long time. It may be that you haven't been in academia for about 8 or 10 years. You may not have picked up a journal for so long. So we look at how to read journals. They'll all be online. You can access our wonderful library of e-resources. So the formative allows you a little practice, so to speak. The red boxes are when you submit the summative. So the summative is contributing to your final grade. Okay, so as you can see, there are 2 red boxes, and so you've got 2 summative assignments. Now, as you can see, the plan for September is an academic year. Sorry, I've put annual year, it's academic year. September until May. If you joined us in January, that would be an annual year. So that would be January to January. Okay, so I'm hoping most of you would be looking at September or January. And it's roughly the same. We do one module and then you follow it with the second module. Thanks, Rowena. Now, I said we've got a planning of your workload. Life is busy. Teaching is a busy job. And we appreciate that sometimes things come up and you may need to attend other meetings. You may have Chinese New Year. You may be going on traveling. You've got events, anything like that. So we try and tell you what work is going to come up over the next week or the next 2 weeks. By doing this, if you are a night owl, you like to work on the train into your teaching establishment, you can. You plan your workload. We do have webinars, which I'll talk about shortly. You need to have read, watched, digest, and then be willing to share your ideas about what you have actually completed. So this example is looking at Robert Bjork. Make a note of it if you want to do some pre-reading. How we learn versus how we think we learn. Some of you in the call might be working with very young children. Some of you in the call may be working with adult learners. So you need to put this into context of your own setting. So when I say it's online, you are reading these materials and you're working with them. And you are then thinking, how would this work with my 18-year-olds, my 5-year-olds? So then when we have a webinar, it's roughly every week or every other week, you have a 1-hour live session. It's important to note it is not a taught session. It's not like when you did your degree, you attended a room and your tutor was at the front and they taught you. You are on an online course. You read the materials, you work through them. The webinar is there as a supportive mechanism to help you move forward to the assessment, and it's very much a general consolidation of learning. So we talk about social constructivism. If you've not heard of that, write it down. Social constructivism. You're learning from your peers, you're learning from each other. So I always use the example. I had a student who was at a very nice high fee paying school in London. And then I had a student who was in Ethiopia. So you can imagine the difference in the facilities, the learning environment, and the experiences. So the conversations that occurred opened both of their eyes, because I'm a big believer in that you need to understand where your students have come from. So understanding that age phase before and where they're going to, that next thing. So if you've got a learner in your class, you need to think about their prior learning, their prior instructions. What have they been doing? How have they been taught? So when you come to the webinar, that's very much an opportunity for you to discuss. We try and say, do not name your setting. Do not say, I am at XXX high school. You don't need to do that. But you will find that many people on the programme may be in the same vicinity as you. I think one of the nice things I had a couple of years ago, 2 girls out in China from South Africa, and they said, I've made friends for life. I never thought I'd make friends on an online course, and the best mates now. So that's really nice to hear as well. So you have got that learning community and that professional learning community as well. Okay, not Rowena, Rose, sorry. Now I mentioned level 7, and I appreciate some of you already have a master's. If I think back to my undergraduate and my master's, I can't remember at my undergraduate really being shown all the criteria, but we don't hide it from you. We allow you to see what you need to do in order to pass. So it is 50%. So master's level is a 50% pass mark. You will find that most undergraduate was probably 40. So we're just going to look at the difference in that writing. So we've got, if we look at, if you always aim high, if we always aim for the 79 plus, you're going to succeed. It is a pass-fail. We do allow resubmissions if you did fail, and it's a rework of the original. So I'm just going to look at some of the words on here. If we look at the second row, interface between theory and practice, this is quite interesting because we are looking at practice-informed research or research-informed practice. Have you read something at the weekend and thought, I'm going to implement that in my teaching? Or have you thought, I'm going to do a little bit of research about it before, or I've taught it, now I'm going to find the evidence. So what you will be doing is looking at that critical analysis, and you'll notice the words. If we go down to the 50%, good critical analysis, evaluation of relationship between theory and practice. If we go up to the 80 for the distinction area, exceptional critical analysis of the interface between theory and practice, exceptional evidence, etc. So these are the things that you need to do. It's not all on here. When you start the program, the full list of criteria is shared with you. One of the rows links to a presentation. So you should be getting a high mark for your presentation. Your teachers, you should be amazing with your presentation of your work. So as I said, there are resubmissions. I will tell you about the assignments as well. So that's the overview of the grading boundaries as well. Thank you. Now there's 2 modules that you do take. Now when we design the program, we took into account what people want. We spoke to people like yourselves. We did the validation in accordance with another group of people similar to Totally Teach. And we've got module 1, raising the achievement of learners. I mentioned earlier and I explained the 1,000 word formative. Now, this 1,000 word formative, it's not just a standalone. You get the feedback, you put into context, you work on the feedback from your tutor, you take the 1,000 words and you expand on them in the summative. The formative is very much a literature review. The summative is your reflective literature review. Now, this is why you need to be in your educational setting, okay? You are going to be reflecting on a topic of your choice, I'll show you in a moment, and you're reflecting on how it is raising the achievement of your learners. You will place examples of what you've seen, what you've observed, what you've experienced, and why it's worked. If you aren't in an educational setting, you're not going to meet the needs and the demands of the assignments. Module 2 is a small-scale research study. If you did a dissertation at your undergrad or you've done a master's, it's 4,000 words, so it is very much a small-scale study. The formative on this is very much a proposal and an ethics. You work with your tutor. So as I said, your tutor group is usually between 25 to 32 in size. Your tutor will work with you to make sure you select appropriate topic areas. We don't want you to take on board something that's worthy of 80,000 words or a PhD. We keep you grounded and we make sure that you do not go over that word count significantly and place too much pressure. Each of these modules, 30 credits each, there's 30 master's level credits. Now, many of our students will cover topics that are of interest to them, interest to their setting, or maybe it's a local government agenda, a school-based agenda, or it's just an area of general interest to you. So I will give you some examples of titles as well. Thank you, Rose. So next one after that. Okay, so here is a little overview and the title. So a critical review of the use of role play, I'm going to say, and the extent to which it raises achievement of learners within post-16. It may be that you wanted to look at a critical review of active learning outside education and the extent to which it raises achievement of learners within K1 or whatever the age phase you're working with. So I think the importance of this selection is because you can take ownership of it. We are not directing you to select a specific topic area. You can choose something that you are interested in. So it could be linked to your subject. So I had one about using beads in maths. And remember, this first module is a literature review. So you want to choose something that's clearly got some research out there as well. So that is the title, and you can think about that. Module 2, if we just move to module 2, is called Quality Teaching and Learning. As I said, this is a small-scale research project. When we designed this, we wanted it to be like a journal style. So if you can remember a journal, abstract, introduction, literature review, methodology, results, and then your discussion conclusion. Ethics is included as well. We're very proud that you've got the potential to be published. Because of the way we formatted it, it's very easy to transfer into publication. And we've got a reasonable record of publications as well. So why is this important to you? Link to the work. A lot of our learners move on to disseminate the findings and take a lead in a specific area. So you may have chosen a specific theme, topic that is of interest within your setting. And it may be that you then take some of the professional development. You may take a lead on them. You may train and teach your peers, your other colleagues working there. So we do want you to select something that's of interest to you and very current. So a couple of examples, some people that I've had recently, a lot of AI, use of AI in history, in maths, etc. We've had a lot of studies using role play, case studies, outdoor learning, some general assessment, using a different form of assessment, peer assessment, some questioning, but you have to bring it in and be quite focused. We are open for you to be quite different and unique. We like you to choose something different. And this is what makes the programme exciting for the tutor team. We do not have 2 assignments that are the same. Every student will select a different topic area, and we encourage you to do that. So you'll work with your tutor in order to select a theme and a topic that is of interest to you. Okay, next, Rosie. Now, coming on to the fees. At the moment, the fees for September, 2,800. It's the same fee for all if they're applying for the UK or in China. Okay, you can pay your fees via instalments as well. You need to ask. I think it's over 3 instalments. Fees go up, as does everything in life annually. Might be a slight increment for next September, but at the moment it's 2,800. And I think if you do research, this is quite competitive, as it is master's level course level compared to other places. If you are lucky enough, some people are sponsored. If you are lucky enough to get your fees paid, I don't think many of you will, but you never know. You just need to outline this, and you also need to be clear that you've been referred by Totally Teachers, your agent, on the application. So everything's on there. When you apply, you do state the September, January or April that you wish to join us in. It's part-time and it's 1 year part-time. So I'll just address some questions here in that. What happens if you start in your employment in September and your contract ends, or you're already in a contract and your contract ends at Christmas? If you do not find yourself another job, you may have to just press pause on your studies for a little bit. And we're quite helpful with that. We will allow it and you can come back, but we only allow you to press pause at the end of a module. So the fee status is also reflective of you as an online learner have access to all of our systems and services. We've got an amazing Skills at Cumbria team for the online and the library services. They host some live sessions for you, showing you how to access our e-journals, e-books. They are amazing. I learn something every year from them. You can also book appointments with the skills team, counsellors, etc. How much is the course duration? It's September until June. If you do the September, it's 2,800, if that was your question, Hassan. Okay, next slide, Rosie. I don't think I've got that many left, so we can have some questions. Just next steps, really. Check your country, visa requirements, fee status. It's not assessed on application because it's 2,800 for everybody now. Fees and admissions will be able to advise you if you are able to pay in instalments, like I said earlier. So you may be able to pay in instalments over 3. So there used to be a restriction about a UK bank account. I don't know all the details on this, so you will find out at application stage as well, and you can ask if you can pay it in instalments. So that would be great for you, really. Thanks, Rosie. Now, before I come on to the application, shall we have a little look at the chat and see if there are any questions? And then my next step would be just giving you some hints and tips, what we are looking for in the application, personal statements, etc. So shall we go just to the chat? I don't know if have you summarised, Rosie? Let's see.
Yeah, I think
8 new messages.
You've answered quite a few of the questions, Ruth, but there was a good one from, let me see, from Natalie Scarlett, who asked, what does my school need to do to support this course, and what are their responsibilities?
So your school does not really have to do anything. They do not need to be engaging, mentoring you with regards to the assignments. What I do say, though, is they'll be interested. They'll be curious to know what you're doing. And I think within that learning environment in your department or your staff base, I normally find that many of the students go and have a chat and say, oh, I'm thinking of looking at this. Or this week I've been learning about Robert Bjork. Have you learnt about him? And just having those general conversations with staff. The head teacher in the school, it's advisable that you tell them and you outline what you are doing. When it comes to the research project, what we say is we give you some strict rules. You're not allowed to do any videoing of your learners and things like that. So we do the ethics, but it's always advisable that you just mention to your school. You know what, if you're in a school that are very nice and they're willing to give you an hour off for academic time, ask them. I'm not sure. Rosie and Rowena might know a little bit more about that than I do. Sometimes in the UK, they will give them a little bit of study time. Because we are doing this in your after school hours, as in the webinar would be live after you've probably finished, it would not have any impact on your day-to-day role as a teacher in the school. They do not need to mentor you. They do not need to observe you. Somebody's mentioned the practicum. You have to be teaching in order to do this. You already need to have that job and be moving into that job as well. Rose, anything else? I think somebody's asked if it's affiliated. The University of Cumbria is its own university in the UK. It's not affiliated with any of your schools. But Rowena might be able to give you an idea of which school she works with.
Yeah, I think if I just jump on, Ruth, what I will say is when we do the Q&A after you've finished, everyone on the call can have a think if you'd like to ask questions where it's more directed in a recruitment perspective. So these are great questions specific about the course, specific about the fees and what needs to, that only, really you can answer in depth. But if anyone would like to think of questions where it's involved, how will a PGCE help my applications with schools? How will they support me in that way? Then do feel free to pop that in the chat and me and the team can answer that after you finish, Ruth.
Okay, thanks. A question by Sam is really interesting. How would not having a QTS affect my work application, and can I work for a university, for example? So we have had applications come in and successful students completion who have already been working in university. I think to work in a university, you need to show that you do have your degree. You possibly would need the full masters in maybe your subject. But yes, I have had applicants from a university. How would not having the QTS affect my work application? I think I'd leave that to Rowena and Rose to explain, because they've got greater awareness of the locations you are working in. 2,800 is for the whole PGCE. Now, if I want to get QTS, is there another course to enrol in? So depending where you want to work in the world and where you want to study, qualified teacher status at the University of Cumbria would be a face-to-face in Lancashire for secondary, or we do London, Lancashire, Carlisle for primary, and it would be a 1-year face-to-face full PGCE. And that would require placements, this same assignments roughly as the academic ones here. So that would be that it's face-to-face. There are numerous now routes to QTS if that was something that you required. Deadline for your language certificate, you're going to have to do that super quick, really. The programme starts about the 15th, 25th of September. So I think you could get it completed. So I think some of the others I've answered. I've answered Anna about you've got a teacher who can help you, yes. If you already have a PGCE, if you're debating with him a master's, well, you know, I don't want to lose you, but if you've already got a PGCE, see if you can APL your credits in to the full masters and see if you've already, I don't know, Rowena, we're losing somebody by saying that, but if they've already got it, they might as well look at what they can do with that PGCE.
Yeah. No, definitely. And there's routes to build on that, which I'll touch on afterwards. I wanted to double check with you, Ruth, because something that was interesting about Cumbria was it's advantageous to be working in a school setting, but there are other options if you have contact hours with children. I think that would be really interesting for people to know about.
Okay, so I think I'll talk about some of my past students based out in the Far East. So I had a professional basketball coach. So he's working with learners. I've had swimming teachers. I've had people who've worked in a training capacity in a school and they're training the staff. The person in the university was looking at, his assignment was on health and well-being in an educational setting. So if you have access to your learners for over 6 hours a week, you can complete this course. So in those 6 hours, to enable you to meet the requirements, you would need to be planning and teaching, etc. So you need to be able to write on your application that you are in a setting. So I can see some people haven't quite got a job yet. We do take applications up until the end of August, maybe the first week in September. But if you are successful obtaining employment, then you can come on the course or join us in January when you do find yourself a job. That's absolutely fine. A question about payments, I think I'd have to follow up on that one. I don't work in the fees team as well, so I don't know the answer to that. But yes, you can be in anywhere with any learners of any age phase is basically my answer to that. Is that all right, Rowena?
Yeah, I think that's really interesting because some courses, it's only a school, it's only specific curriculum that you can be teaching. You have to have a mentor, you have to have this, you have to have that. I think one of the USPs that Cumbria offers is that you don't even have to be in a normal school setting, or teaching in a normal classroom setting, which is really interesting and something that not many universities offer. So I think that's really interesting. The deadline for the September enrolment, it's in a few weeks, isn't it? By the kind of now-ish.
I think now that we have a one fee for all and they do not need to do any fee assessments, it's made it a little bit quicker to do the offers. If you will be asked to provide your degree certificate, so you need to have that handy and you send in a copy of that. And you can then ask, they will give you guidance and advice about the fees. If you can pay via instalments, you can ask that as well. So if you can get your application in quickly over the next couple of weeks, that'd be amazing. If you miss the September start, we will just give you the January start, which is great anyway. January start would allow you to work over the summer. But I'm always conscious that over the summer, you want to travel and you want to enjoy yourself. And you may not wish to be completing a qualification. But for some people, it's the ideal time for them to focus. And for some of you, you may be working over that summer, June, July, August time as well. So I'll just go through the application process. So we'll share the link with you in other communication. So it's cumbria.ac.uk PGC online. You set yourself up as a user, very easy, you're a new user. It will state part-time. You select the programme there. Next slide, Rosie. Now, personal statement advice. We all love a personal statement, don't we? Not. It's hard to write about yourself. It's not a nice thing to have to write. And what we are looking for as a team is a brief overview of you, your setting, why you want to do this, your experience of working in education. We're only looking at about 200, 250 words. So that's a page of A4 roughly. I don't want you to be writing and going into ChatGPT to write a perfect personal statement. It needs to be personalised. It needs to be from you. It has to tell me the name of your setting, what age phase and country. If you do not put this information in, it will delay any offers coming through to you. Okay. Outline any other experience. If you worked in different settings, put this in as well. And that will help the team. So next slide. Now, this is just so you've got a little bit of an overview on what you will get at the end. So I've said 50% is the pass mark, where the red circle is here. This student got really high grades. It's a make-believe student, 74 and 83, and they passed on attempt 1. If you failed and you resubmitted, it would probably say a mark of 50, pass on attempt 2. Okay. If you fail, your resubmission is capped at 50. And the qualification on the certificate shows postgraduate certificate in education as a pass. And the name of the course, the programme, is postgraduate certificate non-QTS. It doesn't say online on the certificate, but it may say online on your transcript. So this transcript is what would be needed for any future study, further study, going into a full master's, or visas sometimes ask for transcripts as well. So that is what your end award would be. And as I said earlier, we don't just say goodbye to you. We'd like you to stay with us and complete a full master's in education online. Somebody's asked a question about moving towards QTS. We do QTS UK only. We do not assess overseas. You would have to find another provider that would assess you overseas. Okay, Anna? What is the end date of the January intake? January is January to January. So that is your annual year. September is an academic year. September until May, June. Next slide, Rosie. And then it always surprises me, graduation. We had a student, there's a slight picture of her on a previous slide. She was from China and she moved to Spain or Portugal. And she was listed in the top 100 women educators, or top 10 even, in China. So that was and she came to graduation. So it always amazes me, people who come to a formal graduation, which is in the north of England. And it's especially nice because of things that have occurred in the past couple of years. People have missed graduations. So you were all invited. But what we also try and do, and Rowena may organise something, is just a little online celebration of your success. I'm a big believer of celebrating success. Celebrating success if your work is published. We have highest achievement awards. If you get the highest marks in the Institute of Education, you may be named as this. And these are all things for your CV. If you get work published, that's for your CV as well. So it's, Rowena mentioned about unique selling point. What makes you unique at interview and what makes you stand out above and beyond everybody else in that room? And if you have a PGCE, and Rowena can explain the different schools that you may be working in and the requirements for those schools as well. Yes, Barry, I think part of it is going to be shared afterwards as well. I think that's the end. Is it, Rosie? Right, I have got my email address there, but I think I would prefer any communication to go via Rowena and Rosie for this. A bit more about publications and journals. Right, so let me see if I've got any that I can share with you. What I might do, if Rowena and Rosie answer any other questions, I will try and find some links to some publications for you.
Perfect. Yeah, thank you so much, Ruth. Really appreciate the detail that you go into with that. It's not always easy to find everything online or to know really the ins and outs of what the course entails. So thank you very much. Yes, if you would like to ask, I've got a few that I've seen, but if you'd like to ask any questions, regarding your application for work, which is what we do obviously at Totally Teach in terms of finding a teaching job, then please do pop them in the chat now. So we'll start the Q&A just before we spin the wheel for a winner. But I think one of the questions was, what's the biggest benefit to having a PGCE? And I think that that needs to be spoken about in two different ways. The first is purely the schools that you have access to and how the market has changed. So I'll speak mostly about China because most of you are based there, that we found out at the start. And if you do know Totally Teach, you do know us, you do hopefully know about our tier system, our bronze, silver, gold levels of schools. Now, they are specifically requirements that schools ask us for, and that's how we are able to categorize the job listings. You will see that before most schools were bronze. They required the basic degree, TEFL, some experience. Fantastic. It has definitely changed to a higher percentage going into silver. And silver tier is degree in education and a PGCE. And now it's becoming a basic. It's what most schools are asking for. It's not now, okay, I would prefer it, or if there's a teacher that has it, maybe they're given preference. It's now as basic as asking for a degree in a TEFL. So the market is changing. With international education, you do have to change and adapt with these as well. It's not going to go back. It's only going to go forward. So the first thing is you will have access to different schools. And when in different, I mean, it's not necessarily purely the salary, but you do have access to international schools with better holidays, fully paid holidays, benefits for your spouses, for your children. And without that certificate, you don't get to look in the door. Not saying it's impossible, not saying it never happens if there's a situation in ASAP and you're in China, of course, but if you don't, then you don't have it. Barry, how does it compare with a TESOL? It's in terms of how a school would view it, it's uncomparable. It's giving you it's a degree after what you've already studied. A TESOL and TEFL is the bare minimum almost for a visa application. So a PGCE shows that you've reflected, you've studied, you know what your students are asking for, and you've chosen a topic in which you wish to improve yourself in. So the benefit, simply put, is that you have access to schools you wouldn't have access to otherwise. You have access to positions you wouldn't have otherwise. And it definitely is, in China, becoming more and more of a necessary requirement. And the other thing that I think that someone asked about was how your school can support you. I've seen it with teachers as well that have gone through it. You actually get to know more about the colleagues in your school once you are studying it, once you ask those questions and say, oh, I am doing this. And suddenly the SLT team, your senior leadership, starts to see you in possibly a different light, or starts to say, okay, you're serious about this. You're developing yourself professionally. You're committing to the industry, to your career. And you might then be considered for positions within the school that you weren't before. And all of this is, the PGCE unlocks all of these opportunities. It's the door that currently might be closed, and all you need to do is study this and be able to open it to other opportunities. So I do think that was a really good question, because there's tons of benefits to studying this. Are there so Danielle, in recruiting, are there lots of schools that demand a QTS or just a few? I would say less so than requiring a PGCE. There's a much higher percentage that now require a PGCE than schools that require a QTS. To go to QTS, it's gold tier on our tier system, and there are a handful of schools that require licensed teachers. A PGCE and a QTS are recognised worldwide. It doesn't mean that if you have another license type, so I'm talking about American state license, a South African state license, that they're not accepted by schools, because licensed is what it basically effectively allows you to teach in your country of origin. But a QTS and PGCE are recognised worldwide. And now that we work at Totally Teach with schools outside of China, we've seen that for visa requirements alone, this isn't even in China, the fact that you're more competitive as a candidate if you have these qualifications, it's that you can't even get a visa in other countries if you don't have a PGCE or if you don't have higher qualifications. So if you are thinking of moving on after China, of course, it's international education. Where else would you like to experience? you do need to, for example, Malaysia is a great example. You have to have it. They cannot get you a work visa without these qualifications. I don't believe Cumbria offers IQTS yet, Ruth, or maybe it's pilot, but other universities do. There are other routes to QTS, as Ruth mentioned. You can study the PGCE, and then you can go on to studying a QTS remotely as well. If you would like to know more about that, contact us and we can direct you. I do think that definitely investing in, if this is your career, why wouldn't you invest professionally? But what I would stress is to get your PGCE first, and to see if you enjoy it, see if you enjoy studying again with a cohort of other people and what you learn, and to develop yourself as a teacher, not only for yourself but also for your students. You know, think of the benefits that your students are going to get from you developing as well. Yeah, so I think QTS we will definitely follow up on. As I said, we will send a summary of all of this to everyone afterwards, and really appreciate how engaged everyone is. I think this is fantastic.
I've just put a couple of links, the free access to. I've just selected a few that you may find interesting because some of these were from overseas, some were in the UK. So I've put 3 different journal publications. They're mostly second module. And I'm also just going to share with you that link to how you apply as well. So the link is there. It's a very easy application process, honestly. Do not worry about it. It's very much data, information about you, your qualifications, and you're just uploading your certificates, etc. So it isn't hard to do. It's not like when you're applying for a job and we're asking you lots of hard questions. But if you do need advice on that application, Rowena and Rosie will be able to help. I'm on leave next week, but I'd say if Rowena and Rosie can collate questions, they can come through to somebody will be covering for me whilst I'm off. But as I said, on this application, there will be a drop-down list that asks you to select your agent. And that's when you select your agent and it comes through, and Totally Teach know that you have then started. Answer Sam, please. What has Sam asked?
Sam,
is there a difference between doing the PGCE online and offline? So we do the PGCE non-QTS is fully online. If you did a PGCE face-to-face, it'd be in England, it'd be in the UK. A PGCE would involve 2 placements. It would probably, if you're an international student, probably about £15,000 or 9.5 if you are a UK student. So there is a difference. The course content is teaching you to be a teacher. You will do lots of different things on a full-time face-to-face. And Sam, I'm not sure where you're from. If you are UK and you wanted to be teaching in the UK, this course, along with something else as a QTS, would possibly be a route you can look at in the future.
I'm just going to quickly, there was a question, sorry, I don't know your name because you're test on the thing, which if you can type your name in the chat box, obviously for the winners draw, again, just a reminder to everyone, please do, otherwise we can't enter you, which is a shame. But it was saying about with the PGCEI, and should then they, which you said, Ruth, PGCE or a master's in education. And I would agree. I would say that you should then study a master's in education. And I would definitely find out when you are choosing which masters, if you are then licensed through that masters, because that is then essential. It puts you into gold tier. There's no point studying, you know, you may as well do the next one and get licensed, and then you are gold tier into the top international schools in the world, and that would sort you out. So I wouldn't, there's no need for you to study a PGCE. If you've got a PGCE, I would go on to the next step, which is a master's in education, and echo Ruth's opinion with that as well.
Yeah. So we do the masters in education online as well. I think somebody's asked a question. Things are moving around. Are there any other fees? No, 2,800. Everything else is accessible online. You do not need to buy any books or anything. everything. You can access the journals, the e-resources. There's no other fees to that. Full list of documents needed. It'll be qualifications, and you possibly will need your letter of employment, your contract, if you have something like that, just to show that you are in that educational setting. You'll find out once you start the application process, you can press pause and come back to it. So if it asks you to get something that you've not quite got, press pause, come back to it in 2 days. Absolutely fine.
Perfect. Okay, and to Fred, we will provide contact details at the end, so don't worry about that. Ruth, are
and
you
we are
okay
a physical college. I'm just replying to Barry. I've heard there's a difference doing online with unis that don't have a physical college. We are a university. We've got different buildings, different sites across the UK. And we work with a number of different places overseas. So we are a real place. I think it's interesting. Some countries can still be. They think about online, but there's many courses that you can do online now. So I think people are just moving forward with their understanding.
Perfect. Thank you very, very much again, Ruth. Are you happy if we move on to the draw?
Yes.
Yeah? Okay. Let's...
Can I just answer one question? Sorry, workload.
Yeah.
Or I'll do it after this. What, do you want me to?
No, it's okay.
Workload, probably about 3 hours a week.
Perfect. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing my screen and Rose is going to jump on and share because we're going to do it live. Things can go well live or not well, so we'll see.
So yeah, just to say one last time, if your name is coming up as test and you want to be entered into the prize draw, then just type your name into the chat box and I can quickly add your name into the random name generator. Otherwise, unfortunately, we can't add you in because we don't know your name.
Yeah, there's only 2 people now that are tests online, so...
Yeah, so if you want to be entered, just send your name in the chat if you're test. Otherwise, we'll go ahead and see who's the winner. I think... okay.
Okay, I think you can go, Rose. So the winner of this, obviously, as you said before, Ruth, normally you would get £45. Everyone gets £45 cash back when you sign up through Totally Teach for a PGCE course. But today, and for today only, to thank everyone for attending this webinar and to still be here, because if you're not still here and your name comes up, you're not going to win. You will actually be given £150 cash back. So, over triple what you would normally get. So spin the wheel, Rose.
Here we go. Oh, we have a winner. Marcella Mormon.
Marcella, are you still online?
Oh, Marcella is still here.
Yes. Congratulations, Marcella. Okay, brilliant. So we will... Brilliant. Woo, congratulations. So if you sign up, Marcella, if you decide to, please let us know because you will be getting the £150 back. So it does, every bit helps, as they say. Congratulations and thank you very much for attending. So I will just re-share my screen now. To finish off, we are nearly done. Thank you all. And that's just to sum up about our next webinar. That is happening next Thursday. We're not going to take your time up on a Friday, I promise, every week, but we are doing 3 webinars in August just to set everyone up for success starting your new roles, whether it be at a new school or your current school, because a lot of people have stayed this year, but maybe you're going into a different position. So next week, Thursday, same time, 5:30 Beijing time, we are doing a webinar with our exclusive partner, Leading Your International School. This organization is full of principals, head of schools, directors of education. It is a wealth of experience for longer than I've been born. Like it's incredible, the people that are part of LYIS. And we've started off the professional growth journey with Cumbria with a PGCE, and as you gain more experience and want to go to the Masters of Education and beyond, you might then start to consider leading and management positions, head of department positions, whichever direction you'd like to go in. But and these people know all about that, and they have kindly said that we can do one together to give some advice, some insights, some tips on how to start in a really positive light, how to give a good first impression to not just your students, but to your colleagues in the school, and just to share their knowledge, really, which you don't always have access to in this way. So if you would like to join, again, it will be a bit of a presentation, question and answers. There'll be a recorded video answering questions as well. And it's essentially giving people access to leaders that maybe they wouldn't necessarily. It's those people you see on LinkedIn that you want to ask that question to, which you don't really want to send that direct mail to. So please do join us next week. You can register in the same way. We'll do the same thing, send the link, send you a reminder, and it would be great to see some familiar faces on our back to school webinar series. So thank you all so much for attending. Here, Fred, are the contact details, and everyone else. marketing@totallyteach.com is Rose's email, so please do reach out. There is Ruth's as well, but as she said, feel free to connect with Totally Teach team. You might see your recruiter online. We've got Eloise, Anushka, Leanne, Vienna with us. So if you are already connected, please reach out to them, and we will connect you directly to the Cumbria team, the admissions team, that can help you with any more questions or your application directly, anything like that. And as you're all in China, hopefully you're already following, but if you're not, here is our official WeChat platform where we post all of our information, articles, our partnerships at the moment, which, as I said at the beginning, maybe not everyone was online for, that we are trying to assist with more than just a job now. You trust us to find you your jobs, but you can trust us to help you with your lives in China. Everyone that we partner with, we have tried and tested ourselves. So with Totally Teach, you are totally covered. From pet relocation to relocating yourselves. We moved a teacher last week from Hangzhou to Shanghai with great success and her 2 cats, to personal development and growth as well. So please do give us a follow. There are lots of announcements on there. And everyone that registered will be sent, as I said, the summary from today. How to register for the next event, email the same way. Email Rose, follow our platform, just reach out to someone with from Totally Teach, and we will assist you. We're personable, we are who we are. We'll help you get there. But thank you again, Ruth. I want to stress again so much for your time, your brilliant presentation, answering all the questions, because there were loads, and to everyone that attended too and was so engaged. It's much more fun when people are like this, and not like when you ask a question in a class and no student wants to answer. So it was much better, and thank you everyone. I do hope we answered all of your questions. If we don't, we'll pop them in the summary and try and get them answered when we send them over. Is there anything you'd like to say, Ruth, before we let everyone go and have their dinner, probably?
Thank you. It's been really nice to see everybody. It's great to have such high numbers in attendance. And as I've put in the chat, the application link is there. Please do apply early because it helps. And as I said, I am on leave next week. So if you've got questions, please go through Totally Teach and they can collate them. So good luck in your careers. Education is challenging, it's busy, but you're doing these things for your learners as well. And that's what the assignments are designed for. It's very much what you are doing on a day-to-day basis. and you're reflecting and you're linking those reflections with what the academic studies are saying. So you're looking at the journals and what's been published. And you know what, for some of you, you might be a bit fearful. We have a free postgraduate MOOC that you can do quite early on in September, and it'll just remind you of those little things like referencing. We use Harvard referencing and script referencing, so it would outline something on the lines of Hurst 2025, outlined and stated, found, etc. So you've got your in-script referencing. But we spend so much time upping your skills again, just to make sure that you're ready for those submissions as well. And it's nice to go back to study. I did a senior fellowship over the last couple of years, and bizarrely I quite enjoyed it. So it's nice to go back and do some study as well, especially when it's linked and it's got a purpose to you, enhancing your career. So good luck.
Brilliant. Fantastic. Thank you everyone for attending, and have a wonderful Friday evening and an even better weekend. And I hope to see you all again soon. Bye.
Bye. Thank you all.